Hi, welcome to another one of my videos. Recently, most smart home YouTubers actually released videos for Earth Day and how to conserve energy and all these things. And I caught something on Paul Hibbert's videos. He was suggesting to buy this. It's a UIN or something like that, energy monitoring socket. So I went immediately on Amazon, bought them, and here they are. So keep in mind, this CE means China export. It's not the actual European certification. And also this one, they just print it on. There's nothing else. So these sockets claim to be 16 amps. In fact, they are very common. And these ones also, I think I have below my table. Give me a second, let me pull it out. This is a Tekin, which is also very popular, but this one claims to be 13 amps. And these actually are very nice switches. They are under the Tuya platform. So, yeah, as you can see, they are practically the same, probably from the same manufacturer and just renamed. One of them is 13 amps and one of them is 16 amps. This is the one that actually monitors power from, this is the one that Paul Hibbert suggests on his videos. But, I mean, look at it. It's probably the same, exactly the same. About the rating though, there's a huge problem with these things. I don't know about the Tekin, I haven't opened it, and I don't want to open it because that's the only one I have. But these ones, I did actually open them. So I opened them before just to avoid, time delays. And so let's have a look. I'll show you the main things. So this is the input. You have to break this thing apart. It's glued together. The ground just goes straight through, goes in and into your own socket. It doesn't interfere with the circuit. It doesn't need the ground. This one is a bit of a minus because it's soldered. So if this overheats, I don't know. Well, if this actually overheats, you probably have a melted socket. But anyway, these are the inputs. The PCB sits, where is it? Like this, somewhere, somehow like this. The contacts from below go into the board. I just took them out without any tools, only a tiny soldering iron. So, yeah, well. So you have an ESP8266 on a board, and you also have the measuring circuitry. You can see it has a 16 amp fuse on it, which is not replaceable, at least not by the end user, because if this blows a fuse, you're done. Practically, you throw it away, because if you break it open, you might have to actually damage it like I did, for example, here. I had to cut it down because I had to use a soldering iron here. But yeah, you have a current limiting resistor on the input, a fuse, over voltage protection, and you have the output of the circuit. Here's a potential danger, not potential, there is a danger on this thing. So in order to pass high current on these sockets, copper is actually very thin on the board, so they have to reinforce the bridges here on the relay with solder. But take a look at this. So this one, for example, this is not completely reinforced with solder. This one barely has enough solder, and I think over here it doesn't have anything. So if you pass 16 amps, I'm guessing these will probably burn up. This one looks fine because of mainly. But the most interesting thing is the tiny relay that actually does a job. This was sitting for safety. It was sitting here on as an insulator. So something like that. So where is it here? Yeah. Yeah, it was insulating the rest of the board from the high voltage. So you have this relay that actually has to handle 16 amps at 240 volts. As you know, most of electronic devices from China actually state 50 to 100 times more of the ratings than they actually have. And if you actually trust this relay to pass 16 amps through these contacts, you're mistaken. I mean, you're gonna burn your house. So this for 30 amp relay is actually 5 times as big as this, and its contacts are like as thick as this. And this one has these as, you know, it's a normal 5-volt relay. The problem is this only states, if you see, 10 amps 250 volts, 16 amps 250 volt AC, and nothing else. It's only that. Usually relays have specs about DCs and everything, and 125 volt ratings and all these things. This has the same ratings and 125, 277, 250, and something is bogus about this. And this brand is a no-name Chinese, Huilong Gang something, which gets even more confusing because on the datasheet it's completely, I cannot show you this. On the datasheet it's completely confusing, even more confusing. Power ratings at 250 and I don't know, it shows 280 watts, that's the maximum power, and then it shows 2770 volt amperes. So this thing is seriously unreliable. Even the certifications that it has on top here, you can see that they're copy and pasted on the PDF sheet. And yeah, as I said, this won't handle 16 amp loads for extended amount of times. Even 13 amps will be too much for this. This will overheat. Eventually something is going to break down, and something is going to short. Worst case scenario, it might blow a fuse or actually catch fire. So please be careful if you use these. I use them myself too, but only for loads up to 500 watts. I never go above. So you cannot power a kettle with this, you cannot power a water heater, electric water heater with this, or any appliance that actually requires above 500 to 800 watts. Sorry. It's good for lights, it's good for, you know, small stuff, chargers, laptops, monitors, whatever small stuff you have, but that's it. Other than that, you cannot really use it for anything, especially you know, considering the bogus parts that are being used on these things. No safety. Well, there is safety, but there is no safety on the actual margins on this. So if the manufacturer wanted to be correct, he could actually say 5 amps to make sure that this will never have strain on it. That's what usually Western manufacturers do, but products from China usually overstate things, and in the smart home, which is a smart home environment which is completely unregulated and nobody actually cares, everybody cares about the cheapest, and I do also. We have to take these into account. Never trust these devices for high loads, even though it says 16 amps. And Paul Hiebert actually said that, oh, well, this is 16 amps, it's a very good socket. It is a very good socket, a very small, very versatile, but the thing is, you cannot use it for 16 amp. Have a nice day.